by welcoming the director of CIFF, Sofie Dolva. Welcome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for helping us set this up at your wonderful show. We're super proud and happy about this partnership. And I've been coming here to Copenhagen many, many years. I've seen this show many, many years. It seems like it's very vibrant this year. Can you talk a little bit about this edition of CIFF? Now we're coming up on the last day. What are your impressions?
So our first impressions and the feedback from the brands, the buyers, and the press is that it is indeed a vibrant season. There is really good energy despite of the market situation that I think we're all aware of, so we don't need to speak that much about it. It's our second edition of what we call CIFF City, so we try to really fuel it with more inspiration. So it's not only 1,200 brands with racks and logos, a lot more food courts, a lot more collaborative eventing with the brands. So we really try and again fuel in the creativity and inspiration. So at the end, the buyers will forget about the market situation and buy more. And it seems like it's working. We were a bit nervous about it, but the feedback is that there were some good orders on day one. So we are really happy right now.
Wonderful. Uh, in a way, you and I have kind of the same mission with what we're doing. We do this event because we want to serve the brands. You also want to serve the brands and help them with their businesses. When you interact with the brands, what are the challenges and opportunities that you see right now? What's on their mind that you want to try to address?
I think, of course, there are different challenges. I think they're all facing, again, the market situation is very hard being a new brand entering the retailers because they have limited budgets. The sellout is not what it used to be. Everybody's under a lot of pressure. So that is, of course, very challenging for the new brands. And then we see it's not a new thing, but a lot of the brands that are filled with creativity, they have beautiful collections, they're not educated with the business aspect, so they need a bit of help with that. And then, of course, everybody wants to take responsibility and be more sustainable, but with the market situation is also putting a lot of pressure, and you are limited on the resources. It's very difficult. So there are different pressure points. Um, so I think, right now we're trying to help the brands nudging the buyers in different ways because the old way of working, just sending out the lookbook and do the print and pray is not working anymore. You need to step up the game and really be a partner with the retailer. So that is something we have in the pipeline going forward to help them even further.
Wonderful. So, can you mention a few more examples of how you interact with the brands? I mean, obviously, you help them with the show here and the framing of the show, but are there other things you help them with? Advice? You say you want to nudge them in the right direction with the business side of things, for example?
Yeah, we have gone from being a very transactional biannual trade platform to becoming more as a 360-degree business partner. So right now we are trying. We can't do it with all 1,200 brands at the same time, but we're trying to sit down with the brands, talk about like what is the goal, what is the aim, is there new targets, markets, or is it more brand awareness, and then together do like a yearly plan, because it's not only the 3 days. You need to have a more clever and thought through plan. And then with our global relations team, we sit with them and say, okay, pick your top retailers, and then we try and nudge them before Fashion Week, because it's very seldom in this new time that you meet a new retailer and then they're like, oh, fantastic collection, let me buy it, let me do a prepayment. That's not happening anymore. So going forward, we will also launch CIFF Media, a TV studio and podcast studio, to invite them in and actually have a visual one-pager of the go-to-market, so we can help present the key points from them to the right retailers before entering the trade fair.
Well, that's fascinating to me. And I remember one of the first times we met when you started this job a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we talked about kind of how the changing of the role of the trade show. Because on one hand, it's this super traditional thing, this kind of souk, it's been around for hundreds of years. You enter a big hall and you try to make that commerce. Could maybe feel super outdated, but it feels also to me like it's one of the most important things in this kind of digital world. You have that connection. You come in here and become kind of eventize the business. But there's also another role for you. So you have to still have to do that,
Yeah.
but you have to play a role throughout the year.
Exactly. I think it's the balance because this industry will always need the physical touch point. You know, it's all about relations, it's all about feeling, touching a lot of emotions, right? So I don't think it will ever go away from this physical aspect, but then we need to adapt them more, like the digital platform to support them throughout the year. And I think we're trying to, someone said it was actually a good expression that we are becoming more like the Coachella of fashion. So you can experience much more because we need something else also to attract the buyers here.
Right, right. But this, I mean, everyone who works with commerce or branding or content in any way feels this kind of strain of you have to be everything everywhere all at once in some regard. I imagine it puts another pressure on you as an organization as well. You have to be active throughout the year.
Yeah.
What's that been like developing the organization?
I think if we're not developing and not changing, you know, we will just die, we'll lose momentum. And I see all over the world a lot of previously big trade platforms that are, you know, almost not there anymore. You know, Germany has almost nothing left. So I think we can see that it is working to be more than just this traditional platform. And for us, it's also like building the bridges to other countries. So we can, you know, take small segments out and do small bursts again to nudge, but in a different way. It can be in combination with shows, with talks, etc. But again, to have these small peaks throughout the year, and that's also again why we're launching this TV studio so we can have some content and nudging throughout the year.
Right, right. You mentioned the other markets. I wanted to touch base on you a little bit, how you see your role in the Nordics. Obviously, I feel like we Swedes have been sidelined. We don't have a fashion week anymore, minimized. We're not going to get into why that is, but it's to me, it's obvious that Copenhagen has become this kind of capital of fashion in the Nordics, and even bigger. I think you have a lot of buyers from other parts of Europe. How do you see your role in the Nordics as it has grown?
I see it more and more as an international platform, and actually right now looking at the numbers
It's in the
already.
name actually, since
Yeah,
or so.
exactly. But I think now it's more true than ever. So we see, I think this year we have around 15% of the buyers are coming from Germany. We have representation from Asia, North America, Eastern Europe. Um, and we're also seeing more and more international brands actually choosing our platform instead of their home markets. And it's also because, I mean, the infrastructure in Copenhagen and the ability to be under one roof, it's more easy. The buyers have more time compared to if you're in Paris and everything is scattered. And when I'm talking to, for instance, like the British Fashion Council or New York Fashion Week, they have a huge issue with the commercial aspect because they can't gather it. So that's where I see my role, building the bridges to the other fashion weeks and then presenting our platform. So also very good for the business, of course. And this year we also launched it for the emerging German brands with our project Neudeutsch.
I saw that. This morning is going to be mostly about fashion, but I have to ask also, you have entered into other segments. At Scandinavian Mind, we do several projects in the beauty space as well, with our beauty innovation track. Talk about that, the kind of expansion of the show in terms of different industries.
So I think obviously with my background in beauty, it was you know, it was one of the first things I did. It was to introduce beauty because I see that, you know, the retailers, the department store, that is also how it's divided. It's not only garments. So we introduced beauty, lifestyle. This time also a bit of furnitures for the first time, and the feedback is amazing. I think it just it gives a good addition, and there are so many synergies. A lot of the concept stores they also buy that way. And I mean, this season has been the best ever, also for the beauty and lifestyle brands, because of course it takes some time to build it up. But also the feedback from other markets is that they are inspired by it, and they are also trying now to expand.
Wonderful. Just out of curiosity, how much overlap is there? Is it more like it's different types of buyers, or is there overlap between fashion and beauty? Do you
There's a lot of overlaps, but of course now where we have more beauty brands, we are also adding more specific beauty retailers to our hospitality program, of course, but it's not the beauticians, it's not the day spa, it's still some of the niche stores, those stores that can help them build up the different markets.
Right, right. And talk about, I mean, you're doing obviously all the activities here, but you're also doing things globally. You're out in the world, traveling, doing stuff.
Yes.
Talk about this. There's like an international ambulating CIFF happening as well.
Yeah, so beforehand the team was very busy with the 2 times a year projects, and now we're busy all the time. So the love that I see some from the team down there. But we started a collaboration with Florence, with PT Umu, like back before we acquired our competitor, and we are continuing with that for the men's fashion. But then we have built on top of that, and we have done a collaboration with the CFDA, so New York Fashion Week, and they're also here exploring. And that's where we bridge the American designers with Danish, next time Nordic designers, like-minded, because there's so many synergies. This summer we also, for the first time, did a collaboration with Milano Fashion Week and also hosted a show down there. It also gained great momentum, and then probably we'll also have a new international collaboration that we can tell more about soon in a very big market.
Exciting stuff. So when you are traveling around and doing these events in different cities, how are you received as a Nordic player, and how are the Nordic designers received? What's the impression of Denmark and the Nordics internationally?
I mean, all the present buyers, they love Nordic fashion. And I think, of course, every time we do it, we try to have some of the brands that are doing really well within circular fashion, because that's what they love.
Right.
But of course, to mix it a little bit. But we see every time we do it in the market, of course, we also go in with a big bang and a good collaborator, but it's gaining a lot of awareness. And we see every time we do it, we gain a lot of extra international buyers for CIFF in Copenhagen. So of course it's for the brands to help them out in the world, but it's also very, very good marketing stunt for Copenhagen to attract even more buyers.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, crystal ball, like next 5 to 10 years, where are you at CIFF? What's your vision? Can you reveal anything?
I can reveal that we're working on both CIFF Media, as I explained, to be relevant all year round. Then we're working on something called CIFF Plus, our digital aspect, and we want to still, of course, have the physical platform, but we want to become even more digital, and we want to build on the community, but in a new, more modern way. So becoming more of a 360-degree partner in all aspects, that's the goal.
Sofie Dolva, head of CIFF, thank you so much for sharing your insights and work here today. Round of applause. Thank you.